tonight.
We did not hear the opposition denounce their federal leader as being a terrorist in India.
A Sask Party MLA apologizes for calling the federal NDP leader a terrorist. We find out what Saskatchewan renters and housing advocates are looking for in the federal election campaign. And U of S veterinary students get a hands-on experience with new life-sized models.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Thursday, April 10th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. A Saskatchewan MLA has apologized for her comments in the legislature regarding federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. Raquel Hilbert called him a terrorist last month. Now she's apologizing, and so is her boss, Premier Scott Moe.
What would make someone say something like that? On a quick Google, you know that this is completely false.
We did not hear the opposition denounce their federal leader as being a terrorist in India and denounce the collateral trade damage to Western Canada.
I'm an adult, I'm a leader of a national party, I'm an elected official, I'm a lawyer. I don't care that they said that about me. It's not about me. But I am worried about why someone would say that. Like, this is an MLA, someone that's an elected official, respected member of their community, a former teacher. Like, what would make someone say something like that? This is, I'm assuming, a very educated person. On a quick Google, you know that this is completely false.
I made an inappropriate comment regarding the federal NDP leader. I wish to apologize and withdraw my comment.
Calling someone a terrorist simply for being sick is hate speech. It does so much harm. Members of the community are asking me a question. I will ask the Premier now. Why does the member who spread such hate continue to sit in the government caucus?
I would repeat, Mr. Speaker, that the member has apologized on the floor of this Assembly and apologized more broadly to anyone and everyone, Mr. Speaker, with respect to those comments that were not only inaccurate but highly inappropriate, Mr. Speaker.
And the opposition NDP, meanwhile, says the apology is not good enough. The party says Moe should remove Hilbert from the Sask Party caucus altogether. And in another announcement Thursday, the NDP says it wants to make the first Saturday of every month a buy local day. The private members bill was introduced by the NDP's economy critic, Alina Young. Young says she hopes this would better support local businesses in the face of U.S. tariffs and economic uncertainty.
It's going to be read again at the next sitting of the Assembly. This seems like a pretty simple, straightforward, feel-good piece of legislation. It would be my hope that we can pass it unanimously in the House. I don't see any reason not to.
But the provincial government says it is already doing a good job supporting provincial businesses. It cited data from the past 5 years showing that nearly 90% of all procurements have been awarded to Saskatchewan companies. The government says only 1% of procurement contracts have gone to companies south of the border. Well, housing is one of the major platform items in the upcoming federal election, and that has the attention of renters and housing advocates in our province. But just how will it impact their vote? Liam O'Connor has that story.
Affordability is on the mind of many voters this federal election, especially for those who rent.
Saskatchewan PhD student Derek Cameron has rented for years and says he's feeling the pinch.
Definitely over the past few years, rent prices have gone up $200 or $300, and even moving in with my partner and trying to find, something between us that worked, that was still really difficult.
According to Rental.ca's March rental report, a one-bedroom apartment in Saskatoon is about $1,300 a month. A two-bedroom is about $1,500 a month. Compared to other major cities, that's on the low side. But year over year, rent has increased here by more than 6% for both options. Cameron says he's looking for meaningful solutions this election. He wants policies that focus on the long term and the big picture.
Making it easier to build, looking at ways they can nudge municipalities to, loosen up some of those rules that are really more aesthetic than about safety or anything else like that.
According to Statistics Canada, nearly half of Canadians are very concerned about housing affordability due to rising cost of housing or rent. Poverty advocates want the federal government to commit to more social housing and incentivize the province to implement rent controls.
We have many clients that are paying more than 80% of their complete income on rent alone, and in some cases it's really over 100%, that all of their income, and they're having to scrounge up more just to be able to keep a roof over their heads.
Data shows Saskatchewan's number of social housing units have steadily decreased from 2021 to 2024. That's another concern for Gilmer.
We do have to look at adequate housing through a human rights lens. It's a commitment that we've made under international law, and we can't just look at housing as just another commodity on the market.
As for Cameron, he says he's still on the fence and is not sure which party he will vote for on April 28th. Liam O'Connor, CBC News, Saskatoon.
A pair of Saskatoon library branches will soon reopen with added security and better surveillance. The Francis Morrison and Dr. Frida Ahenecue branches closed last month. Staff said it was because they could no longer provide a safe space due to a rise in homelessness and drug overdoses.
We saw a real influx of individuals who were coming in intoxicated and dealing with other, I think, challenges around grief in the community and behavioral issues. And it was becoming really challenging to manage and well beyond the scope and mandate of the public library.
Shepstone says security staff will now stop people at the doors of the branches if there's reason to believe they could cause issues inside. The library has also added cameras and provided staff more training. Both branches are set to partially reopen Monday, with a full reopening a week later. Regina police are investigating a death in the Al Ritchie neighborhood. Police were called to this apartment building in the 400 block of College Avenue East just after midnight Thursday. Officers found an injured man inside. They say they tried to save him when they got there, but he died at the scene. Regina Police Major Crimes and Forensics units are now trying to figure out what happened. They haven't released the man's name or age. No word yet on any charges. Mark Zilke says he fights for the little guy. He once ran for mayor of Saskatoon on a platform targeting homelessness and poverty, and he represents people in small claims and traffic court. But on Thursday, Zilke was the one in court facing a judge for a crime he allegedly committed. Dan Zakreski brings us that story.
Welcome. My name is Mark Zilke. It's good to be here with you today. I want to talk about those who are falling through the cracks.
Mark Zilke is not shy on social media. He's on YouTube, Facebook, X. He ran for mayor in Saskatoon back in 2020 on a platform targeting homelessness and poverty. And he represents people in small claims and traffic court through his business, Living Sky Advocates. There are years of pictures at functions around the city and the province, including this selfie a week ago inside his BMW. RCMP say just 24 hours after taking this picture, Zilke was one of 3 men who robbed this North Battleford motel on Saturday night. The allegations are laid out in these court documents. Well, the men are accused of robbing the motel using an unregistered handgun, and the motel staff were beaten up and threatened with death. The suspects stole cell phones, cash, and then trashed the motel's security cameras. But they were caught on video from another hotel taking off in a white BMW. RCMP arrested Zilke and the 2 other Saskatoon men here at the Borden Bridge 45 minutes later. They had a gun, sword, cash, and ID from the motel inside the car. A white BMW featured on Zilke's social media pages. The 3 men are each charged with 14 counts of robbery and assault. Mark Zilke was released on bail. Tyson Moore and David Dominguez are in court this week. Dan Zakreski, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Police in Weyburn say they've seized a huge amount of a dangerous drug. It started last week when the city's police force received intel from Vancouver police. Officers said an incoming parcel addressed to a Weyburn home was believed to be suspicious. Weyburn police officers were then able to get a search warrant to intercept the package from a courier. That's when they found nearly 18 liters of GHB, a potent so-called date rape drug.
We're all really working hard to get a lot of this stuff off the street, whether it's this or fentanyl or cocaine or meth. There's so many dangerous substances out there, and there's always something new that is coming. It's just so important for people to be aware of what they're ingesting and the dangers of it.
St. John says the investigation is ongoing. So far, one person has been arrested in relation to the drug bust. Well, if you thought Wednesday was warm, you hadn't seen anything till Thursday. A great day for a walk around Wascana Lake in Regina. Bright skies, warm temperatures, light wind. There's still snow, but really starting to feel like spring. No jacket required even. There is more of this on the way, but it is not going to last. I'll tell you about the pattern change in my forecast when we come back. Welcome back. The number of Canadians visiting the U.S. slipped even further last month. And as Sophia Harris reports, fear is a growing reason that is driving that decline.
This travel agency caters to Canada's Iranian community. And there's one country right now most clients refuse to visit.
From middle of March, we haven't sold even one ticket to U.S.
The manager says the reason? Iranian Canadians being interrogated at the U.S. border, including some of her clients.
They feel unwelcome. They feel that being singled out just because the place of birth.
No. Iranian Canadians aren't the only ones staying away. The number of times Canadians visited the U.S. plummeted in March compared to last year, down by 13% for air travel and down by almost 1/3 for land travel. One reason for the decline? Reports of heightened security at the border, including the detainment of 2 German tourists, a backpacker from Wales, and Canadian Jasmine Mooney, who spent 11 days in detention after her work visa was denied.
You're literally stuck in this cell with no daylight, nothing.
In past administrations, you wouldn't see these cases. It's almost like the pendulum has gone 180 degrees. From low enforcement to just maximum enforcement.
Even travelers heading to conferences are worried. This chemistry professor canceled plans to speak at an upcoming conference in Honolulu. She has Canadian and American citizenship, but still fears trouble at the border due to her advocacy for diversity, equity, and inclusion, a concept Trump condemns.
I feel some responsibility to support the conference, but I also don't want to put myself in a position of danger, possibly. It wouldn't surprise me if there's some profile on me at this point.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection told CBC News the Trump administration is cracking down on bad actors to secure its borders and that lawful travelers should have nothing to fear. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, another gorgeous spring-like day for many of us out there. Some of us maybe even starting to feel a little bit like summer as temperatures got warmer and warmer in all that sunshine as well. And let's take a look at just how warm things got across the province. Near 20 degrees in extreme southern and western Saskatchewan, as you can see there. And many of us even quite a bit further north, places like Meadow Lake, Prince Albert, finally getting a taste of those mid-teen-like temperatures, even into northern Saskatchewan, getting to enjoy some of the warmth. Of course, partially responsible for this, the jet stream, which has been arcing over the province and through much of the prairie provinces actually these last few days. Still quite cold, though, off to our east in parts of southern Ontario and Quebec, dealing with very cold wind chills and even a little bit of some snow. We are possibly going to be experiencing that, though, over the next few days, because as we get into Sunday, Monday, our jet stream pattern begins to break down. and a couple of weather systems are going to make their way along the jet stream, possibly bringing us some moisture. Before then, though, this area of high pressure, which has been keeping the skies clear over much of the province, begins to move out as we head into the early morning hours of Friday. That means that cloud covers are going to start to build back in for many of us. And we're going to watch this low pressure system that's moving in from Alberta, because that is going to be bringing a messy mix of some rain and some snow to especially far northern Saskatchewan as we go through the day Friday. Although for south and central, the skies sort of begin to clear a bit as we get through Friday afternoon. And then through Saturday, that's when the cloud starts to build back in, and we start to see a couple of these systems move through. A system from Alberta, and then a larger Colorado low that we're watching that's developing. I think, though, a couple of the models are actually pushing what you see here a bit further to our south. So it is possible that, for southern Saskatchewan, we may not catch the brunt of this, something that we're going to be watching over the next couple of days here. And it looks to be mostly a rain event, but this model seems to indicate that there might be some snow mixed in there as well. Again, something we're watching, but definitely for northern Saskatchewan, moisture is coming. If it falls mostly as rain, we could see maybe up to 5 to 10 millimeters of rain, and especially into the far north there. If there is some heavy snow at times, could be in the range of 5 to 10 centimeters. While the north gets the moisture, south and central is going to see the winds start to pick up from this as well. Even into early Friday, those gusts upwards of 50 kilometers an hour, particularly in southern Saskatchewan. A breezy day for us as we head through Friday. Things finally calming down a bit on Saturday in between those two systems, but they'll pick up again as we get into Sunday and the first part of the work week. So temperature-wise, other than the wind, still quite a nice day in Regina as we get into Friday. Then, of course, that cloud cover building in. Possible showers with that system Sunday as the cold front really drops the temperatures, but we'll be back up into the teens for next week. Same for Saskatoon, where we might catch a little bit of that system as well with some rain showers Sunday. But before that, Friday and Saturday looking gorgeous with mostly sunny skies, temperatures into the mid-teens, and again, a little bit of a breeze as we head into Friday, but overall not too bad of a forecast. Well, many people like to stop and smell the flowers, especially as spring arrives, but visitors at one Winnipeg greenhouse are smelling something a bit different. Felicia Adam brings us the story.
At this greenhouse, this is getting a lot of attention. The flower is uncommon, the smell, not what you'd expect.
Oh, yep. It's pretty pungent.
Often called a corpse lily, and the name isn't given lightly.
It's got sort of a rotting meat kind of smell to it, to be honest. Yeah, it's not really like anything I've smelled before.
And while the smell should repel people, Winnipeggers like Richard Morrow are coming to the Sage Garden greenhouses to catch a whiff out of curiosity.
Oh my God.
Oh. Joanne Booth is an avid gardener. Smelling the flower is something she never thought she would do, but after 2 smells, she had enough.
It smells like rotting chicken.
Dave Hansen owns the greenhouse. He says while the flower is not as rare as its close cousin, the Titan aureum or corpse flower, it's hard to come by. He says it can take up to 5 years from the time the flower is planted to see its first bloom. He bought the lily just last fall and didn't expect it to flower so fast.
This past weekend, it full-on opened, and I will say yesterday, it smelled like death in here.
But what makes the flower so smelly? He says it's all part of the pollination process.
The beetles that would get in there and be attracted to this plant and move the pollen around within the flower are beetles that love the aroma of decompositions.
One rare plant collector we spoke to didn't mind the smell.
Yeah, not bad.
So I had to get to the bottom of it. How bad does the corpse lily smell?
Oh, it smells like garbage on a hot day. Like it's not pleasant at all. And this flower will continue to bloom for about another 8 days. And after that, Hansen says there's no guarantee that it's going to bloom next year, but that's what he's hoping for. Felicia Adam, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Can smell that from here. The work of famed British artist David Hockney is being showcased at a major new exhibition in Paris. The exhibition, spanning 25 years, features work drawn from museums and private collections around the world. It includes some of Hockney's best-known works, including A Bigger Splash. During the last quarter century, the 87-year-old spent a lot of time in Western France, where he painted the landscape that surrounded him. Hockney is considered Britain's most popular and influential living artist. Stay with us. We'll have more news and a final look at the forecast when we come back. Welcome back. Veterinary students at the University of Saskatchewan have new tools to help them practice birthing techniques on horses. Life-sized models of a mare named Bubbles and a foal named Biscuit that act as simulators.
So the donation is going to be a significant enhancement to our learning program here at the U of S, at the Western College of Veterinary Medicine. Things happen quickly, as you saw in the demonstration, and there's often not opportunities for students to learn to be present at a foaling. So this model provides a realistic alternative, a simulation of a foaling that students can safely, we can reenact different scenarios, different situations, different presentations of the foal inside the mare. We can practice, we can stop the process, and students are able to come back into this room, that they have access to this space, and they can practice and practice and practice as much as they need to. What the veterinarians were doing there were reaching into the mare and feeling around for the position of the foal and making sure that the foal's limbs were in the right position to foal, because there's not a lot of space in the pelvis, and you can see how large the foal is. With Bubbles and Biscuits, they can repeatedly practice these scenarios so our students are confident and understand what's going on if they're present at a real foaling.
All right, let's hope you ate your supper before you watched that item there. Turning to our forecast, though, pretty warm overnight for many of us, significantly above the freezing mark, in some cases +5 to +10 temperature-wise as the clouds increase and we get some wind moving through south and central. Into northern Saskatchewan, a pretty warm night as well. A couple of you, especially in western sections of the Churchill region, looking for temperatures above freezing. Get into tomorrow, and that's when we see the beginnings of that weather system starting to move through. Cloud cover with some rain showers in western areas of the north. And then as we get later into the afternoon, this model seeming to indicate that that's going to be changing over to snow as we get into far northern Saskatchewan into the later afternoon hours. For south and central, again, we'll start to see some clouds roll through for the first part of the morning, specifically in southern parts of the province, but then that starts to clear away as we get into the afternoon. Maybe still a little bit of lingering cloud cover in southeastern sections, but temperatures approaching 20 degrees for some of us once again. But again, a bit of a breeze to that as the north sees all of that moisture. Well, that is it for us. For more news anytime, you can always head to cbc.ca/Sask or subscribe to our CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. And of course, you can always download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.